Hello there and good morning. So now that the Speaker, John Bercow, has made it impossible for Theresa May to re-present her shoddy withdrawal agreement to the House of Commons again during the current parliamentary session, what on earth will she do? The first thing to note is that HMS UK has set sail for a WTO Brexit at 11 p.m. on the 29th of March, and Mr Bercow has, by his intervention, locked the tiller in place for the moment. The reality is that the only way to unlock that tiller now is to get an Article 50 extension from the EU 27. So that is probably what Theresa May will focus on right now. She needs that extension so as to pass the legislation that would make her deal lawful and enable her to ratify her non-Brexit withdrawal agreement surrender treaty. But even with a 3-month extension, which is the maximum she might get away with without needing to hold EU MEP elections, those 3 months could well prove insufficient. As I've pointed out before, the key piece of legislation that has to go through the full parliamentary procedure and be signed into law by the Queen is the EU Withdrawal Agreement Bill, or WAB, which hasn't even been published yet. And that was meant to be given 6 months to make its way through some very tough debates and votes. So there is no assurance that this bill would get through in a short extension anyway. So why would the EU agree to that? Anyway, Mrs May will go to the EU Council meeting on this Thursday, the 21st of March, to try and make her case, whatever it is, and also try to get something out of the other leaders that she can present to Parliament as an upgrade to her deal. Because unless she can somehow significantly change the offering, Bercow will not let it go forward. So we'll have to see what she is able to bring back. But in the background, Brexiteers have been quietly lobbying some Brexit-friendly EU 27 leaders, asking for them to veto an Article 50 extension. And remember, it only takes one of them to do it. And I'm not sure that Brussels has the political firepower at present to quickly get them to change their mind. And with no Article 50 extension, we're out on WTO terms. So I'm not sure much will change until the start of next week, which is the final week, in fact the final 5 days of the UK's EU membership. So we could see either a short Article 50 extension being offered and a last gasp effort by the PM to salvage her deal with some changes agreed with Brussels, or it could be that Brussels offers the UK only a long extension to Article 50 on the proviso we hold, maybe, a second EU referendum along with some other strings, like what the question on the ballot paper should be. Or she could report back that the EU is not prepared to offer an extension at all, as not all EU 27 member states could agree to it. And if that were the case, we will hear the combined Remainer screech of revoke Article 50 now, because that would be the only other option to a WTO exit available to them. The trouble is that to revoke Article 50 would require primary statute legislation being passed that repeals the Withdrawal Act 2018 and any related legislation, as well as replacing Acts of Parliament that were repealed in the process. I don't think that is something that can be achieved in 4 or 5 days. Maybe a year or so would work. But this is the one scenario where the EU 27 would most likely offer an Article 50 extension to achieve it. But the political and economic cost to the country and those UK parties and politicians involved would be extremely high. So all those plans and plots require an Article 50 extension as far as I can tell, along with huge amounts of turmoil and uncertainty. other than the one of leaving without a set deal with the EU at 11 p.m. on the 29th of March, of course. So, time to welcome WTO. But never underestimate the conniving Remainer establishment, so we must be prepared for all eventualities. Anyway, what do you think? Please leave a comment below and thank you for watching.